How a black millionaire helped a homeless man and inspired Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Adrian Hawthorne strode through the crowded streets of New Haven like a storm cutting through silence. People paused, stared, half in admiration, half in jealousy. A billionaire with a wicked smile and a mind sharp enough to slice through steel. The city breathed around him, alive with its clashes, sleek high-rises shadowing cracked sidewalks, gilded cafes standing beside shuttered shops, laughter leaking out from fancy parties while sirens wailed nearby. Autumn air bit at Adrian's cheeks as orange leaves tumbled wildly at his feet. His mind spun faster than the swirling breeze, not with stocks or tech, but with a secret buried in the attic of his giant mansion. Hours ago, he'd stumbled on it, an old leather-bound journal, yellowed and worn, tucked beneath dusty boxes no one else ever dared peek into. The cover felt like a lock, the pages whispering long forgot. His chest tightened with guilt and pain. For years, Adrian had built his image on genius and charm, a savior of the city, an innovator envied and hated in equal measure. Elon Musk called him visionary. Donald Trump's name surfaced whenever Adrian's bold moves shook Wall Street. But beneath the glossy veneer, his family had roots tangled in betrayal. Betrayal that crushed lives like Malik's, locking them into vicious cycles of poverty while privilege soared. Now, with Malik's journal in hand, Adrian felt the fight raging inside him, a war between his carefully crafted legacy and the unbearable truth clawing at his conscience. He walked faster, past neon signs and ragged figures, hoping to outrun his storm. But the city wouldn't let go. Every corner reminded him of Malik's words: pain, hunger, loss. Adrian's hands trembled. What could he do? How far would he go to change a truth so brutal? As he planned a bold new project to save New Haven's lost neighborhoods, a shadow stepped into the light. Gabriel, the boy Adrian once called brother, now a sharp-suited magnet thriving on the city's darkest divides, offered a smile full of secrets. Gabriel's deal smelled like poison dressed as friendship. His demands blurred lines, twisting loyalty into chains. Was he an ally, or just another enemy in disguise? The tension snapped when Adrian found a note hidden in Malik's journal, a clue shaking the ground beneath everything he thought he knew. Malik, clutching the same journal decades ago, stood at a crossroads that would define both their futures. One choice could lift Adrian to savior status. The other could bury him under the rubble of his ancestors' sins. But the secret? It promised to shatter all certainty. Adrian's breath hitched. The city buzzed and blurred around him. The past wasn't done with them yet. How much could one man fix? Or was the truth a trap, tightening with every step? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Adrian's breath hitchy. The city buzzed and blurred around him. The past wasn't done with them yet. How much could one man fix? Or was the truth a trap, tightening with every step? Suddenly, screams sliced through the air, sharp and chilling. Adrian's heart raced. He turned, fear striking like a cold blade. A crowd formed up ahead, their faces painted with shock. Voices erupted, rising like flames. A woman cried out, "Get away from him! Somebody stop him!" Adrian pushed through the throng, adrenalina flowing sus venos. Vio él una figura negra por el piso, tremiren y gaspando. Era Malik. Pero no el Malik del jornal. Este era un hombre vivo y desesperado, pálido con miedo, sus ojos vueltos confundido salvaje. ¡Ayuden!, gritó clavando el aire como una garra muerta. La sombra final caza Gabriel, triunfante apinta su rebelía. Just dealing with a loose end, he called, voice syrupy, rich with malice. A chill crawled up Adrian's spine. Was this the truth? Was Galien the monster hiding behind a friendly mask? Adrian surged forward, his legs burning with urgency. "Get away from him!" he yelled. Panic pulsed in his throat, making it raw. "What have you done?" But before he could reach Malik, Gabriel stepped in. "Chill, Adrian. This man is nothing but a broken relic of your past. Do you really want that blame on your shoulders?" It struck hard. Adrian's mind raced. Blame? Was he truly free from his family's sins? Suddenly, Malik shot up, eyes wild, jagged breaths escaping him like shattered glass. "It wasn't just me. Your father, your family, they buried us in shame." Adrian's heart plummeted. His family's name echoed like a ghost haunting him, ringing in his ears. Malik wasn't just a man, he was a symbol, a link to a history Adrian had tried to outrun. "What do you mean?" "Your family," Malik wheezed, pain etched in every line of his face. "They did terrible things. You can't fix this alone." The air turned thick, heavy with desperation and dread. Gabriel stepped forward, booming laughter wrapping around Adrian like chains. "Listen to the old fool. You were born into privilege. You can't erase the past." But there was something darker in Malik's words, something that shook Adrian to his core. What had his family done? How deep did this rabbit hole go? A sharp pang of betrayal crushed him as he reached for the truth. He needed answers. "Shut him up," Gabriel ordered, cold menace in his voice. "He doesn't belong here." And then, with a swift, brutal motion, Gabriel lunged forward. The sound of a gunshot rang out, piercing the chaotic noise, sending the crowd into a frenzied panic. Adrian's heart stopped. The world around him shattered. "No!" he yelled, throwing himself forward. Images of a bleeding Malik colliding with the weight of his family's dark legacy. And just like that, his carefully built world began to crumble. Relationships, alliances, everything balanced on the edge of that gunshot. Adrian could only stand frozen, feeling the tremors of a new reality crash into his life. What had he unleashed? The crowd screamed around him. Questions hung heavy in the smoky air. Everything he thought he knew, every truth, felt like quicksand pulling him under. And as he stared down at Malik, he wondered, Was it too late to rewrite their fates? Adrian's breath quickened as he clutched Malik's journal, feeling the weight of secrets brought to life. The noise of New Haven faded, replaced by a pulse, a heartbeat echoing the chaos within him. He turned down a narrow alley, shadows swallowing the light. Every thought felt heavy. What had Malik done? What choice had shifted their fates? As he reached the end of the alley, he stumbled upon a mess of vibrant street art. The walls splashed with colors that screamed defiance. In front of him, a group of people had gathered, a hum of anxious chatter swirling in the autumn air. He stepped closer. Curiosity piqued, but inside him, a chill crept in. Then he saw it. A flickering light at the far end. A fire. Low and crackling, it danced fiercely, casting eerie shadows. His instinct screamed danger, and among the crowd, his heart sank deep. Malik, dirty, disheveled, but alive, still clinging to that journal. "Adrian!" A voice cut through the noise, jolting him. It was Gabriel, eyes sparkling with something menacing. "You shouldn't be here." "Why is he here, Gabriel?" Adrian snapped, fists clenched. "What do you want with him?" Gabriel smirked, his suit tailored to disguise the predator beneath. "Just a little reunion. You know, family." Adrian's chest tightened, confusion mixing with recognition. The street buzzed, whispers ricocheting off the graffiti. That smile, something lurking behind it, a warning shot. "Get away from him!" "No need to be rude," Gabriel laughed, a dead sound. "You and I both know there's a history. Our history." Suddenly, Malik stepped forward, journal raised like a shield. "I know things, Adrian. Things that would shake your world." Adrian froze, confusion clawing at his insides. "What do you mean? What things?" Malik's gaze pierced through the crowd. "This journal tells stories, deep, dark ones, about you. It reveals the truth about your family, your lineage." His voice trembled, eyes gleaming with a mix of fear and determination. Before Adrian could process, Gabriel surged forward, swiping the journal from Malik's hands. "Enough of this nonsense," he shouted, ripping it open, pages fluttering like frightened birds. Gasps rippled through the audience as unwritten truths spilled into the world. "No! Give that back!" Adrian rushed forward, but the crowd surged with him, eyes glued to the pages. Each frantic flip revealed secrets cloaked in history, names long buried, rising from the ashes of betrayal. And then it happened. Gabriel's finger landed on a name, eyes widening, lips parting in shock. "No, it can't be." Adrian's heart raced. "What? What did you find?" The air crackled, time suspended. The collective breath of the crowd drew tight as Gabriel stammered, "Adrian, you're not—" A woman stepped forward, her cracked voice slicing through the thick silence. "Adrian, it's true. Your family, they didn't just abandon Malik. They sold him into bondage. You come from a line forged in chains." Adrian's world shattered. Anger, confusion, guilt crashed over him like waves. He staggered back, the truth hitting harder than any blow. His blood pulsed in his ears, feeling the weight of generations wrapped in betrayal. Malik's eyes, once filled with pain, now gleamed with fierce hope. "You can change it, Adrian. You can rewrite the story." Adrian stared into the abyss of his lineage, a twisted legacy shifting before him. Questions stormed his mind. Could he break the chains, or would the past pull him under? In a split second, the fire behind them burst higher, sparks swirling like demons in the air. Faces blurred, voices intertwined in chaos, and Adrian stood on the edge of an abyss. Everything he believed, teetering on the brink of revelation. "Adrian, what's it going to be?" Malik urged, stepping closer. The night held its breath. The choice lay heavy in the air. How much could one man reshape? Or were they all fated to repeat the sins of their past? Adrian's heart raced, the truth clawing at his insides. The air felt thick, almost electric. "You can rewrite the story," Malik said, desperation tinging his voice. But before Adrian could reply, Gabriel gripped the journal tightly, his expression changing, shifting like clouds before a storm. The crowd buzzed, tension crackling, as everyone waited. Suddenly, Gabriel's eyes widened, a flicker of fear crossing his face. "You're not... You can't be!" he stammered, shaking the pages like a rattle. Adrian took a step closer, confusion churning in his gut. "What, Gabriel? What did you find?" The crowd's whispers turned into hushed gasps, eyes darting between them as if waiting for a bomb to drop. "It's the bloodline," Gabriel said, voice trembling. "Your family? It's not just privilege, it's lineage, dark lineage." He turned to face Adrian, intensity magnifying his gaze. "You think everything is a game? They didn't just abandon Malik's family. They were part of it. They sold your ancestors into bondage, yes, but your family, your entire lineage, is laced with betrayal, crime." Adrian's breath hitched. The gravity of those words, the echoes of generations past, wrapped around him like chains. He felt Malik's eyes on him, searching, pleading. "You have to choose, Adrian," Malik whispered, the urgency lacing every syllable. A flash of anger ignited inside Adrian, fiery and fierce. "You're wrong," he shouted, his voice rising like a storm. "That's not who I am. I have worked to break free from all that." But doubt crept in, gnawing at the edges of his determination. "Are you sure about that?" Gabriel shot back, eyes glinting with triumph. "What if I told you I have proof? Something that could ruin you, destroy everything you've built?" Adrian's pulse raced. The crowded alley seemed to constrict around him, a noose tightening as he considered the implications. The truth he sought felt slippery, fading like smoke. Then, in a heartbeat, the atmosphere shattered. A gunshot sliced through the air again, sharp, echoing. It came from the back of the crowd, sending arms flailing as chaos erupted. People screamed, pushing against each other like startled ants. Adrian turned instinctively towards the sound, heart pounding wildly as he tried to make sense of the splintering scene. And there it was, a young girl, no more than 16, standing with a revolver, eyes wide with fear and desperation. "Get away from him!" she cried, pointing it at Gabriel. The crowd was stunned silent, hanging on her every word. Adrian's breath lodged in his throat. "Put the gun down!" Gabriel yelled, backing away, face visibly paling. "You don't know what you're doing!" "Shut up!" she shouted, fervor blazing in her eyes. "You don't get to hurt anyone anymore!" In that moment, all focus swirled around her. Adrian felt a surge of hope battling against a tide of dread. But just as quickly, a blinding flash of light erupted, illuminating the darkness around them. A deafening explosion ripped through the alley. Adrian was thrown backwards into the throng. Legs gave way under him, the world flipping upside down. As he struggled to comprehend what had just happened, screams, chaos, and pain filled his ears, drowning out his thoughts. "The secret!" A voice screeched out of the madness, barely audible over the shouting. It was Malik, lunging through the thrice-cursed chaos. "Adrian, remember the truth. Only you can end this." But as Adrian squirmed to get up, he saw something that struck him frozen. The girl lay on the ground, the gun slipping from her fingers, an eerie stillness settling over her. Time slowed. Shock watched over Adrian. He wasn't sure what was real anymore. Then it all clicked. The surprise, the bloodline, the pain. Adrian felt the earth shake beneath him. The weight of the truth pressing down, but one question circled in his head. All relationships, all stories, had he truly known any of them? The darkness around him felt alive, and as the crowd shifted, trapped in fright and confusion, Adrian realized the hidden game had turned. Would he step into the light, embrace the truth, or let the shadows consume him altogether? Adrian's breath hitched. The city buzzed and blurred around him. The past wasn't done with them yet. How much could one man fix? Or was the truth a trap, tightening with every step? He clutched Malik's journal tighter, the leather cool against his palm. Every muscle tensed as he stormed forward, dodging pedestrians and avoiding the glaring lights of the flashy storefronts. His mind raced with the note he'd uncovered, a cryptic message that hinted at a darker family secret. Suddenly, the air shifted. A commotion erupted ahead on the sidewalk. A crowd swelled, voices rising like a wave. Adrian's pulse quickened. He fought through the throng, his heart pounding louder with each frantic step. Was this another accident? A fight? Then he saw her. A woman, wild-eyed and frantic, pushing through the sea of bodies. She stumbled to the center, gasping for breath. "You have to listen," she cried, her voice cracking. "You don't understand. We're all in danger." Adrian's stomach twisted. Everyone was watching, mouths agape. He could feel the weight of their curiosity, their judgment. The woman locked eyes with him, pleading. "Malik, he knew something. It's in his journal. They're coming for you, Adrian." A chill spread through him. "What do you mean?" he asked, though he already felt the blood drain from his face. "Don't you get it?" she shouted, cutting through the whispers. "Those names in the journal, those weren't just random people. They were sacrificed. Your family has a history of it. Malta, Pritchard, all of them. The rich, the greedy. They've been feeding off the lost and the desperate." Gasps echoed around them. Adrian's breath hitched again. "No, that can't be. My family would never." But the woman pressed on, voice urgent, desperate. "They used Malik. He was a pawn, a way to keep themselves in power. His pain gave them what they wanted. You can't let history repeat itself." Adrian felt the ground shift beneath him. What he thought was a path to redemption crumbled. The crowd muttered. Some looked scared. Others looked at him with pity. His world spun, every truth he thought he knew cracking like fragile glass. "No," he breathed, trembling. "That can't be real." "It is," the woman insisted, face flushed. "Your family's wealth is stained with blood. If you don't confront this, if you don't fix it, you'll be next. The city will turn on you." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from behind them. Adrian turned, adrenaline surging, scanning the street. A van swerved, tires screeching, and before he could blink, it plowed into the storefront, shattering glass and sending people scrambling. The crowd erupted, screams, panic, chaos. Adrian was frozen, heart racing, caught between the horror unfolding before him and the woman's frantic words. He gripped the journal tighter, feeling the weight of generations pressing down. Was the truth really this ugly? Was he destined to follow in the footsteps of those before him? What if everything he believed was a facade, crumbling faster than the van could crash? Adrian felt the world turning upside down. In a moment, everything had changed. Fear, confusion, guilt, and adrenaline coursed through him. The stakes were now life and death, legacy and betrayal. How could he steer this ship back to safety when the waters were so turbulent? More importantly, who could he trust now? The answers lay buried in the chaos, waiting to resurface. Adrian's breath hitched. The city buzzed and blurred around him. No answers came. The weight of Malik's legacy pressed on his shoulders like a stone, each step slicing deeper into his conscience. Past the storefronts, through the frantic crowd, he felt eyes on him, whispers rolling like thunder in his ears. What if the truth was a trap? What if everything he built crumbled? He quickened his pace, pushing down the panic, stirring like a volcano. His vision narrowed, and then he saw him. Gabriel estuvo allí, ya hasta pocos pasos del cielo, y echando una mirada de su antiguo amigo. El poro me puso en cólera junto a Adrián. El suceso Gabriel supone un espectro de encuentros y las intranquilas. ¿Y cómo entonces en tres cosas por cada empezaba? Jesús fue un gran guito de su parte, y la soplaya del aire, fatigante como una nave. El noye fuelo a todo el momento, reflejando su espíritu. Esa es quien. Helene, dentro de la entrada. It's happening! The truth will come out! You can't run from it! Eyes widened. The crowd shifted, whispers crashing like waves. Who was she? What truth? Adrian's pulse spiked. What are you talking about? He yelled, feeling a mix of fear and anticipation swirl inside him. Malik's journal! She screamed, fingers digging into her own skin. It ties them all together. You don't know the half of it. He isn't just a man on the streets. He was your father. The words dropped like bombs. The crowd drew a collective breath, stunned silence wrapping around them like an embrace. Adrian felt the ground shift beneath him. The world tilted. What? His voice was low, disbelieving. That can't be. That's impossible. But the woman shook her head, eyes wild, pupils dilated. You're lost in a fairy tale. Your lineage runs deeper into darkness than you've ever imagined. Adrian stepped back, mind reeling. How could this be? His father? Malik? The whispers of his family's past began to merge into one terrible sound. He glanced at Gabriel, who now wore an expression of panic, his facade crumbling. This was it. The mask was slipping. What do you think you know, Adrian? Gabriel's voice was low, threatening. Eyes darting, he edged closer, desperation clawing at him. You have no idea what you're meddling with. That woman is just a... Stop! Adrian thundered, each word fueled by fury and confusion. Everything, the success, the wealth, was built on lies. If true, his whole life had been but a shimmering mirage. But before Gabriel could answer, the woman lunged forward, grabbing Adrian's arms like iron shackles, her grip firm. They'll come for you. They can't let you find out. Run. Find the truth. At that moment, a sleek black SUV screeched to a halt, tires screaming against the pavement. Doors flew open. Figures in suits spilled out, eyes locked on Adrian. Panic flared. The city that had once felt like his kingdom now turned into a labyrinth of secrets. Adrian's heart raced as everything spiraled into chaos. Who were these people? What did they want? The electric buzz of fear tangled with adrenaline. Truth beckoned, but shadows closed in around him. The past was hungry, and he was the feast. Could he untangle the web, or would it consume him whole? Adrian's breath hitched. The city buzzed and blurred around him. The past wasn't done with them yet. How much could one man fix? Or was the truth a trap, tightening with every step? He stumbled to a halt. The note, scribbled in Malik's frantic handwriting, seemed to pulse in his hand. Find the truth behind the bloodline, it read. Suddenly, nothing made sense. A chill washed over him, filling him with dread. What could that mean? A truth buried deep within his family, tied to Malik's faded memory. Just then, a commotion erupted in an alley nearby. Adrian's heart raced. A crowd gathered, gasps scattered like leaves as he walked closer, drawn by a frantic energy he couldn't ignore. He pushed through the onlookers, faces twisted in horror, whispers floating like smoke. In the middle of it all lay Gabriel, the brother he'd once admired, now sprawled at the ground. Blood pooling around him. Shock clamped down on Adrian's chest, the air thick with disbelief. Gabriel wasn't just a rival, he was family. Instinctively, Adrian knelt beside him, trembling hands hovering over a deep gash on Gabriel's side, crimson blossoming against his sharp suit. Call an ambulance! A voice screeched, panic shredding the air. But Adrian couldn't move. He felt rooted to the ground, glued by fear and something darker. Guilt. The note, Malik's plea for truth, echoed in his thoughts. Gabriel's eyes fluttered open, pain twisting his features. Adrian, he rasped, voice barely above a whisper. I saw it! The ledger! What ledger? Adrian's heart thundered. This couldn't be happening. What are you talking about? But Gabriel's gaze turned glassy. It's all connected. Our family, Malik. A shudder rippled through him as he struggled for breath. And then Gabriel gasped. You didn't know. The truth turns in blood. His voice faded, body sinking into stillness. Adrian recoiled, a scream trapped in his throat. The crowd surged, pushing, pulling, eyes wide with shock. Each individual's face, a mirror of his own horror, reflected the chaos and confusion swirling around him. Whispered accusations sliced through the crackling tension. He did this. Why would he? What's happening? He remembered the journal. Every page consumed him with guilt. Had Gabriel, who walked the dark side of the city, discovered secrets meant to stay buried? Could it be true? Was their family linked to Malik's pain? Violent past painted on their blood? Then, something caught Adrian's eye. A flash of light glinting in the pocket of Gabriel's jacket. With shaky hands, he pulled it out. A small USB drive with a label, "Dare not open." It felt cold against his skin, like a fear made tangible. He could feel the weight of countless eyes. The moment stretched, thick and suffocating. Was it the key to unraveling everything, or a doorway to hell? The weight of their family's past bore down on him. A missing piece, a dangerous game set in motion. Did Gabriel know something he should have? What horrors lay waiting in the threshold of that drive? And as sirens wailed in the distance, closing in on chaos, Adrian's world splintered. The truth hung over him, like a storm cloud, heavy with danger and secrets. What awaited him once the lid was lifted? Would he become the savior he aimed to be, or plunge deeper into the shadows that claimed his family? Panic surged within him, a tidal wave threatening to drag him under. The journal whispered louder than ever. In that moment, he knew the path ahead was riddled with uncertainties, and there was no turning back. Adrian's fingers clutched the USB drive like a lifeline, cold and metallic against his skin. Panic rippled through the crowd as sirens wailed in the distance, drawing nearer. Each heartbeat felt like a drum, echoing in the chaos, marking time against the inevitability of what was to come. The earlier screams had faded into a murmurous haze, replaced by the gasps and whispers of people absorbing the grave sight of Gabriel lying on the ground, eyes glossed over. "Get back!" someone shouted, and the crowd recoiled, tension thickening in the air. Adrian's pulse raced as he felt the weight of their fear, every face a question mark. His world crumpled in that instant, shifting like sand beneath his feet. He looked down at Gabriel, the familiar features now shadowed by pain. This wasn't just an accident. It felt deliberate. Adrian shook the thought away. He couldn't afford to linger on it. Not now. He locked eyes with the woman, the one who had warned him before. "You, what do you know?" Adrian's voice cracked with urgency as he leaned closer, searching her face for answers. She swallowed hard, her expression a mix of fear and anger. "They've been hiding things from you. Your family, they're not innocent. They played a part in this. Malik wasn't just a victim, he was more. That journal, it contains the truth about who you really are." Adrian's heart raced. The words rattled in his mind, echoing with every ounce of uncertainty. "What do you mean? What does it say?" Before she could respond, the air shifted sharply. A figure in a black coat broke through the crowd, striding with purpose. The energy shifted. People stepped aside, eyes wide as recognition swept the crowd. "Get back!" the figure shouted, urgency lacing through his voice. Adrian squinted. It was Detective Morris, a name whispered only in hushed tones. A man notorious for digging into the dirtiest secrets of New Haven. Something in Adrian's gut tightened as the detective knelt beside Gabriel, assessing the wound with trained calmness. Adrian felt his heart sink as Morris glanced up at him, eyes narrowing. "Adrian Hawthorne," the detective said, his voice low, but it thundered against the chaotic backdrop. "You need to come with me, now!" Adrian recoiled, fear spiraling through him. "Why? What's going on?" Before Morris could answer, The woman shouted, her voice breaking through the din. "You're playing a dangerous game, Adrian. You have no idea what's at stake." Morris studied her closely, expression unreadable. "If you know something, now's the time to speak up," he said, tension rippling between them. Adrian felt lost, caught in the crossfire of secrets. But then, in the whirl of panic, he recalled the USB drive, the key to it all. "I have to know," he said, determination flashing in his eyes. "What's on this?" As he held it up, the world faded, every connection, every breath hinging on what awaited him. Then, just as he was about to hand it over, so he could demand the truth, the moment ruptured. A single gunshot rang out, louder this time and sharper, cutting through the growing chaos. In a blink, everything transformed. The crowd surged backwards, panic exploding like fireworks as people screamed. Adrian turned just in time to see the detective collapse, the shock of the bullet sending him crashing to the ground. Time slowed, and Adrian's gut twisted painfully. He dropped the USB drive. It slipped from his fingers, clattering uselessly onto the sidewalk. "No!" he shrieked, as the world around him fell into disarray. He lunged forward, thoughts racing. What was happening? All of this, the turmoil, the blood, the chaos, was too intertwined, woven into a tapestry of darkness. And then, in that split second, amidst the cries and the wreckage, something broke inside him. Unraveled secrets, bloodlines woven in lies, and fractured relationships transformed their meaning. As Adrian looked down at the fallen detective, a sick realization washed over him. The connection was deeper than he ever thought. All of it linked back to him, to his family's twisted legacy, and it was a cost far greater than he could ever imagine. He needed answers. But what if the truth meant he was not only a participant in this horror, but part of the very system of betrayal? The ground felt unsteady beneath his feet, and he wondered if it was too late to escape the dark legacy breathing down his neck. With the USB drive lying helplessly on the ground, Adrian stood frozen, grappling with a new terror. The truth finally had. Adrian stood frozen, heart racing as chaos unfolded around him. The detective lay bleeding on the pavement, the truth of this moment pulsing like a heartbeat beneath the surface. The crowd recoiled, anticipation thick in the air, every eye wide with fear and uncertainty. Everything felt surreal. Yet the weight of Gabriel's lifeless form drew him closer to reality, grounding him in the storm swirling around them. "Adrian!" The voice caught his attention, a cry from behind him. Sharp and urgent, it was the woman again, pushing through the crowd, eyes filled with desperation. "We have to go!" "What? Why?" His voice broke, confusion washing over him as he turned back to Gabriel, still sprawled on the ground. "Because it's not over. They aren't just after the truth. They want you. You need to run." Her words were laced with terror, her breath hitching as she glanced over her shoulder. Adrian felt a rush of adrenaline. He couldn't leave Gabriel. Not like this. But he needs help. Panic clawed at him, tightening around his chest. "He's gone," she shouted, her voice echoing through the din. "You have to think of yourself. You're in danger." The sirens closed in, blaring like warning bells. And then it hit him. The USB drive, lying forgotten, the key to understanding it all. He turned, ready to grab it, but before he could, the ground shook as yet another shot rang out. The sound cracked through the noise like ice splintering under pressure. Adrian spun to see figures emerging from the shadows. Men in black suits, faces masked, eyes cold as steel. "Adrian Hawthorne," one of them bellowed, voice booming over the chaos. "You are wanted for questioning." The world around him blurred, everything faded except those piercing eyes and the certainty that they were here for him. Fear coursed, igniting every nerve in his body. "Run!" he shouted to the woman, already pivoting, adrenaline propelling him through the chaos as he sprinted down the street. But the moment he moved, he felt a hand grip his arm, holding him back. He whirled around to find Gabriel's younger sister, a fierce determination glittering in her eyes. "You can't leave. They won't stop until they finish what they started." Panicked gasps echoed in his ears as people scattered, pushing against each other to escape. A sense of urgency swelled. He could feel time tightening like a noose. "What do you know?" he yelled, desperation leaking through his voice. But before she could reply, Gabriel's lifeless body twitched slightly, a flicker of movement that sent Adrian reeling backwards. It couldn't be a trick, a dream, but it happened again. Slowly, agonizingly, Gabriel's eyes fluttered open. "Adrian." His voice was strained, barely above a whisper, yet somehow it cut through the chaos. Pain flared in his eyes as he struggled to sit up, the world around him vanishing in a hush. The crowd stilled, disbelief washing over their faces. You need to know the truth," Gabriel gasped, every word heavy. "What I saw, it's all connected. Malik." Adrian's heart pounded, every instinct screaming at him. "What about Malik?" Suddenly, gunshots erupted again, and chaos surged anew. The masked figures advanced, faces blank, determination etched into their movements. Gabriel's sister shrieked, pulling Adrian back just as the crowd erupted into a frenzy. In that moment, everything shifted. The air thickened with tension, unraveling his reality. Gabriel's hand grasped Adrian's sleeve, desperation pooling in his eyes. "The USB, it holds everything. Your family is more than you thought. It's all intertwined with Malik. It's..." But a loud crash interrupted him, the sound of glass shattering, echoing through the alley as their world fractured. The masked men lunged, chaos pouring in as Adrian felt the weight of the truth heavy on his shoulders. "Dim!" one shouted. Adrian didn't think. He turned and ran, heart pounding, mind racing. But betrayal lurked in the shadows. And suddenly, the truth seemed to twist and turn like a knife in his gut. Who could he trust? Gabriel's words echoed in his mind, their family's dark history laced with secrets beyond comprehension. He turned down an alley, breath coming in ragged gasps. No answers, no safety, just questions swirling like a storm. What if everything he thought was true was built on lies? Adrian stumbled into the darkness, the weight of the USB drive pressing against his palm, mismatched pieces of his family's puzzle threatening to break him apart. And then, as dawn began to rise, illuminating the darkest corners of New Haven, he realized the reckoning had just begun. Adrian felt the weight of the USB drive in his pocket, the chill of truth pressing on his chest. Voices and chaos swirled around him, merging into a cacophony that threatened to drown him. Gabriel lay still, his sister gripping Adrian's arm, panic in her eyes. "They're coming!" she shouted, urgency shaking her voice. Adrian's mind raced. He had to make a choice. Before he could respond, the masked figures closed in, their presence as menacing as thunderclouds. "Adrian Hawthorne," one yelled, and the crowd gasped, fear radiating. Adrian's heart pounded, adrenaline pushing him to move. He wasn't just fighting to survive. He was fighting to reclaim a legacy twisted by betrayal. "There!" the woman pointed, urging him forward. "The back alley." "It's our only chance." Adrian nodded, gripping the USB drive like a lifeline. Together, they darted through the confused crowd, pushing against bodies as they stumbled towards a narrow gap. The air thrummed with tension, the sound of hurried footsteps echoing behind them. They burst into the alley, a burst of adrenaline coursing through Adrian, the darkness wrapping around them like a shroud. Heavy breaths filled the space. They pressed against the crumbling brick walls, hearts racing in sync. "What now?" his sister whispered, eyes wide with fear. "Find out what's on this," Adrian said, pulling the drive from his pocket, his fingers trembling. "We need to expose the truth. Our truth." He plugged it into his phone, the screen illuminating with flashes of documents and images. His heart hammered as the files unfolded. Historical records, names, and undeniable connections to the very shame he was trying to escape. "This is it," he whispered, reading through the notes. Each revelation tore at him, forcing him to confront a sinister history he hadn't known existed. It was all connected, tangled in Elijah's legacy, buried truths clawing their way back to the surface. "Adrian!" his sister gasped as voices grew louder from the street, footsteps pounding fast. They were closing in. He glanced at her, determination flaring. "We have to go public. This ends now. No more hiding." Together, they emerged from the shadows, hands clasped tightly, pushing back against the darkness. The world outside was alive with chaos, a storm of emotions swirling in the air. People screamed, sirens blared. But amidst it, he held tight to purpose, knowing there was no turning back. As they reached the street, a light blinded him. A news van with cameras ready, eager reporters buzzing for a story. "Adrian! Adrian Hawthorne!" they yelled, pushing closer as the crowd swarmed around him, confused, yet electric with a new energy. "This is it!" his sister cried, urgency replacing fear. "Tell them the truth." Adrian stepped forward, voice steady, lifting the drive high. "I'm here to reveal the dark legacy of my family. This ends today." As cameras turned, voices grew as thunder. He poured out the history chained to his blood, the pain, the betrayal, the whispers of Malik. The crowd, listening, their reactions painted in shock, disbelief, and awakening. But then, amid the chaos and the exposure, a figure emerged from the shadows, and it was Gabriel. Bloodied but alive, his eyes were fierce, alive with something different now, and for the first time, Adrian felt a glimmer of hope amidst the storm. Before anything could be said, men in suits surged through the crowd, their faces a mixture of anger and dread. "Stop!" a voice barked, sleek and icy, commanding silence. The tension snapped, the air thick with confrontation. Adrian's breath quickened. "You can't silence the truth," he shouted, unyielding. "Not anymore." But as the masked figures pressed closer, the crowd shifted uneasily. ... The world narrowed down beneath Adrian's feet. What would it take to finally break the cycle? What else lay hidden behind these walls? The future hung heavy in the air, and with it, uncertainty lingered. unresolved threads dancing in the shadows. And right then, Adrian knew he had to strive for a new dawn, even if it meant facing the darkness head-on. But the deeper question loomed. Was it truly over? Or was this just the beginning of a fight that would echo beyond their grasp? You have to subscribe now! Don't wait a second longer! Hit that like button now and feed the algorithm. We need your thoughts. Flood the comments with your reactions, your theories about what just happened. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. This is the moment to show your support.